Preparing for endgame will help you a lot to make faster progress throughout the game. Now when I say endgame, I am referring to the first stages of entering endgame, meaning reaching AFK level 700. After reaching AFK level 700, there will be a big change in how AFK levels works, and it can be quite challenging if you are not prepared. In this video, I will give you all the advice as an early endgame PTR player from what I've learned the hard way before you make the same mistakes I did. Also make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy my content. Number 1. So one of the biggest changes to how the game works after AFK level 700 is that you will need to clear 2 levels in 1 for every 10 AFK levels. So that means AFK level 700, 710, 720 and so on. As for the rules to this, you cannot use the same character on both levels, so this makes it really challenging since you will need 2 teams for each level. The first time I saw this, I got reminded of Honkai Star Rail's Forgotten Hall, which has similar mechanics if you are familiar with that game. So how do we prepare for this? Well, I highly recommend you to invest into 2 teams once you are around mid-game or getting closer to endgame, especially if you are free to play since you have limited envelopes to invest into characters. I think the biggest mistake you can make, and a lot of people does this including myself with my PTR account, is just focus on one team and have nothing else to work with, and this will cause you to hit a wall after the 2 level stages from AFK level 700 and onwards. Now don't get me wrong, you will still be able to beat these levels eventually by gaining levels over time, but it will help a lot if you want to progress faster. My advice is to have at least 2 tanks, 2 DPS and 2 supports that are quite strong. This will allow you to make 2 teams for these levels, and you will have 1 flex spot left per team, so go with whatever you prefer and need for the situation. When I say flex spot, it means anything that fits with the team and helps back the team up the most with what you have available. Now I have some good news about these 2 level stages. Thankfully they are not both high level power. The first stage is always higher power than the second stage from what I have seen. So what this means is you don't have to make a second team as strong as your main team. Just make sure that you have a second team available that can complete these stages, because as always you will need to clear AFK stages to progress in the story and unlock more areas and later content in the game. So the next time you pull for new characters, make sure you have a plan and that you have the correct wishlist to whatever you are planning to get next. Number 2. You will run out of essence, and unfortunately this does slow down leveling characters by a lot. What this means is you will have or already have a lot of XP books, or better known as training manuals, that you might think is completely useless since you can't do anything with it without essence. But that is not the case. Rest assured there is still some hope for these XP books later in the game. You will be able to convert these XP books into essence once your resonance level has reached level 240. Now you might ask me, but what's the point after reaching resonance level 240? That is the max level. Well, it is not quite the end there yet. After reaching resonance level 240, you will unlock a new system where you will need even more essence and XP books. Now for this one, I'm not speaking out of my own experience, but more from research and what I've seen from other players on PTR servers. But the point of me mentioning this is, do not think that these XP books will become useless later in the game, and keep on grinding them so you can convert them later in the game and get a lot of essence out of it. Number 3. Another one to prepare for endgame is the arena store. This one only a few players are aware of, so I thought it was worth mentioning. The truth is that you probably don't have the whole arena store unlocked, especially if you are a new player. So if you didn't know, once you reach top 200 in AFK Journeys Arena, you get a new rank champion. If you happen to keep this rank at the end of the weekly season, as top 200 or as a champion, you will unlock another part of the arena store. Yes, that's right. And this only unlocks one extra item, but it is quite an important item for some players. Stellar Crystals. Yep, you've heard that right. If you can end in the top 200 of the arena, you can now buy Stellar Crystals, which is one of the limited items in the game. And it is 5 per week, so quite a lot honestly. One problem is that you apparently have to keep top 200 every week, so it is quite strict sadly. Some players get upset when they hear this, and I completely understand that. I think they should lower it a bit to legendary rank or even lower to make this more accessible to active players. But that is just my opinion, and keep in mind it does depend on which server you play on, how difficult top 200 is to reach. For my server it is quite a challenge. Some other servers it might be impossible sadly. Another thing worth pointing out is that it costs 1200 arena coins per Stellar Crystal. It is quite expensive and most players would rather buy some character dupes, but keep in mind once you are in-game, you probably want to invest more into the Stargaze Stations characters instead of getting a dupe which might be useless to you. So my advice is to just try your best in arena from the start, and once you are around in-game, maybe you can reach top 200 and get some extra Stellar Crystals. Number 4. This one is quite important on the long run. Make sure to check out this video about maxing the resources you can gain through this guide that you might have missed and that you can get throughout the game. Some that you can only unlock after doing specific things.